Good afternoon, fellow gardeners. We're out here now fixing to show you how to do one of these tubs. Some of the new subscribers coming on, I guess they haven't went back and watched some of these videos. I know we've made several videos of this, so we're going to do it one more time here to help those that are newly coming on, because there's new people coming on every week, and we do appreciate that. We want you to tell you to all your friends and everything about this, so that got a little bit of dirt on under my nose, I guess, rubbing it. We want you to tell your friends about this so they can subscribe, because we're trying to get to 100,000, you know that. And I will make a comment about, I had one person this last week complain because we put some advertisements on there. Yes, we talked about this earlier, and we wasn't going to do it, and then we decided it was going to be some money that we could claim to use on our scholarship fund, because you know we opened this up to children all over the United States to apply for this scholarship of $1,000 that then help them to go to some school, VOTEC or higher ed, that they're going to learn growing food. That's the only qualifications we have, and you can submit, and then we have a committee of about 21 or 22 people that will review these applications, and we will award it to some child somewhere in the United States that's going to go and learn about growing food, because we need people growing our food for the next few years, because there's not enough food in this country, and we know about that. So anyway, we're going to go through this one more time, and yes, we're going to let those ads be put on. So bear with us, bear with them, because every time you watch one of those ads, you're putting money in the scholarship fund. And the more money we can put in the scholarship fund, the more of those $1,000 scholarships we can give each year. So bear with us and let those ads run. Let us get the money so we can put it in the scholarship fund. It's not for me to live off of. Please don't think that away, because I'm out here wanting to teach these kiddos and older folks too how to garden and raise their own food so they can be healthier, live longer, and we'll talk about that more in other videos too. We're going to start putting on 2 videos a week here for long, not this next week, so don't jump in and watch for 2 this next week, but we are going to get into where we're putting 2 videos a week on, one about the container gardening and one about living healthy and growing your own food and what food is healthy to eat. So we'll be getting in that a little later on. This afternoon now, we're going to tell you about, again, how to build this tub. Now, some people ask me to mix the compost. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't mix this compost. I use this just like you can see here in these piles. We pile these wood chips up, we put my cow manure in with it, and we stir these about every 2 weeks. Now, yes, this is only about 8 months into this pile here you see. It still has some big sticks in it, but we're still going to use it like it is. We'll take the great big sticks out and let the rest of it stay in there. And guess what? It will compost this winter and create a little heat in there to help our plants. So here we go. We're going to show you how we make it out of the jugs. We're going to take milk jugs, tea jugs, water jugs, and I see some of all kinds here. And what we're going to do now, we're going to cut the top off of one of them, the thread. Just cut the threads off. Just enough that you can get this 1-inch pipe right down in there like into that. See there, we cut it at an angle. We cut it at an angle so it won't set on the bottom. And we stick that right down in that jug. Now these jugs all have little holes in them. If you can see them here, let me pick up one I've marked a little bit. See these little holes we put in there? Just about the size of a wooden match, or maybe a little bigger, a BB or something like that. We put about 4 around the bottom, about 4 or 5 around the top. And so what we do, we line this barrel now with 7 of those jugs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In a red tub, it takes 7 jugs. In a blue jug, it takes 6. And then we're going to stick one right down in the middle. Now then, you may not want your pipe in the middle. You may want your pipe over close to the edge. So what we're going to do, we're going to pull this one out that's close to the rain hole. And we're going to put this one in the middle, which is all the same difference. Now then, to fill those extra holes up around there, and to get rid of some of these pop bottles that going down into the ocean and killing our mammals, we want to stop that. So we're going to punch a little hole at the bottom and a little hole up here at the top, about 3 or 4 of them on each one of them, and turn them upside down in there like into that. That's just filling those holes with where it'll hold more water and air and less soil to wick up. I'm having a few people complaining because their soil stays dry and wet and never dries out. And the others are complaining because theirs won't wick. It stays dry all the time. So all I can tell you is you're either using too fine of compost and it's staying wet all the time, or either you're using a too coarse of compost of some kind that won't wick, or you never did water from the center down to get this wet so it'll pull it back up. Because we have to water this center to get it a cylinder of moisturized soil to get it to turn around and pick it back up as the plant uses it. Anyway, you can see how we've got there. We've got the 7 jugs. We've got 2, 4, 6, 7 pop bottles in there. And this is where we're going to put our soil. No, we don't use any cloth. We've got our pipe in here over to the side by our hole. We've got 7 jugs in here and 7 bottles. This is where we're going to put our soil down into the bottom to do the wicking. See, that's all we want is just, that's too much. We tried some of that and it keeps it too wet for certain people. So we say put another jug in the middle, fill your soil, punch it all the way down in there to the bottom of the bucket so that it can wick the water up when you put water in it. Okay, David, if you'll put me some compost in there. Now this is just straight wood chips and cow manure, okay? And you see how we're going to put it in there. And I'm going to push it down in around them jugs so that it's got a little bit of soil down in there to wick. Yes, if you had some perlite or styrofoam that's ground up to put in with it, or them styrofoam peanuts. David, stop now. Let's see. All right, now from this point now is what I would do now is just see the top of my bottles. See that? Now this is when I would take and put a half a cup of sustain in there, which is chicken poop and turkey feathers, and then I'd put a 1/4 cup of white sea mineral. This is not the white sea mineral, but I'm playing like it is, and I'd mix it in there like that. Now then we're ready to go ahead and fill the tub up to this angle, this height. David, if you go ahead now and put it in, and we're going to pick out the biggest sticks. These sticks like this, leave them in there. They'll go ahead and compost down. They'll cause some heat reaction this winter, which will cause your lettuce and your spinach to grow so much faster than if you just leave it in the cold. Now yes, we will put most of our tubs inside of a high tunnel. We're here in southern Oklahoma. It doesn't get real cold, maybe get down to 20 degrees or 16 sometime, but it doesn't stay there very long. But anyway, we just keep filling it up with this compost, and this is what we grow in right here, folks. We'll show you this winter of us growing lettuce and spinach in this stuff, and it'll be beautiful. It will be beautiful. Now, okay, we'll put our sustain in there for our nitrogen and our phosphorus and our potash. And then we put a sea mineral in there, which is nothing but evaporated ocean water that has 90-something different trace minerals in it. And we'll put that in there to kind of sustain it with its trace minerals. And then every time we water now, every bit of water we put in here, we're going to put a teaspoon of fertilizer in per gallon of the water we put down here. If we put 10 gallons in there, we'll put 10 teaspoons in those gallons, and then we'll put a funnel in there and pour it down in that funnel until it gets full, till it runs out the hole, and then you know it's full. Now, yes, this is what we're going to do now, and this is all we do to it before we put it in the garden, in the high tunnel. Now, if you're going to grow outside, let's just walk it through here first. Those of you that are going to grow in the high tunnels, we will put about 7 or 8 lettuce or spinach around the outside, or broccoli, cauliflower, kale, and then we'd put about 3 more in the middle of lettuce or spinach or something. Now, if you're doing cauliflower or broccoli, I wouldn't put over about 6 around the outside and 1 in the middle. Make 7 broccoli or cauliflower in this tub. Makes plenty of full of it growing in there. Okay, and then after we get our plants in there, you can imagine the 6 around the outside and 1 in the middle, making you 7 broccoli or cauliflower. Then you're going to water it in good. You're going to water it in this first time from the top and get this good and saturated. and you might even go ahead and water from the top until it comes out that hole. I have no problem. We've just got to get this dry soil watered so it will start wicking. But anyway, then you know that you've put in there 6 or 7 gallons of water. I would put 4 or 5 teaspoons of the fertilizer, the liquid that you put in there, whether you use the nature source that I use, the 10-4-3 in the wintertime to grow greens. Because remember, on greens you want a higher nitrogen, which is the first number. We're going to use like a 10-4 on the phosphorus and 3 on the potash. A 10-4-3. You can go to your chain stores or farm stores and get some fertilizer that's a little higher on the front one than it is on the other two. Because remember now, on greens, we want to use more nitrogen than we do phosphorus and potash. Now, if this is something that's going to bloom, like a pepper or tomato plant, we want you to use that 10-4-3 until you get that plant up big enough to start blooming. When it gets big enough to start blooming, then we're going to change from a high nitrogen and low phosphorus and potash to a low nitrogen and high phosphorus and potash. In other words, use the 10-4-3 till it starts blooming. Then when it gets starting to blooming, we're going to quit that and we're going to put on like a 14-70-48, which is, if you're using a half a teaspoon of each, will actually be a 7-35-24. But anyway, you want the last 2 numbers to be higher than the first number. Just go to your farm store. The brand doesn't make any difference. You don't have to use the brand that I use. Just go find you some good fertilizer that's got the higher last 2 numbers than the first one, and that's what you use for blooming plants. But now this winter, now remember, we're going to raise mostly greens, and so we want a higher front number than we do the other 2 numbers. We want like a 10-4-3 or a 8-4-4 or a 20-10-10. That gives you more nitrogen to grow the foliage and not trying to make it bloom. Okay, so we've told you about that. Now, we're going to back up now, and now we're going to play like we just got this filled up with soil. We put the fertilizer down in the middle. Now we're going to use this outside. So David, now then, give me some more soil. We're going to round this up because outside we're getting so many rains. Put me some more on here, David. We're getting so many rains outside that if you don't round this up and put a plastic over the top, that's the way, David, just keep giving me more soil. Give me some more. And I'll take these bigger sticks off, just like this, and put them back in the compost, is all I do. And you know, and this a lot of people may not agree with me using this course of soil. I like this kind of soil to grow in. I get to use this soil in the tubs for 7, 8, 9 years and never change it out. Now then, I've rounded that up a little bit. Now then, take you a black trash bag, lay it over here, cut you a little X and push it down over that pipe, pull it on down over here on the sides, tie you a string around under this lip, and that's going to have a plastic on it so that when it rains now, it'll roll off. It won't go into your soil. This is the way you got to do where you're getting lots of rain outside, especially now we're fixing to have these hurricanes over in the Carolinas. I've got a friend over there that helps me a lot on the East Coast there in North Carolina, Duncan Quick. I want to thank him for doing all the help he does for me over there, and we're going to go over and visit him here this fall or this winter one time, and we'll make a few videos from his place, and you can see what we're talking about over there. But let's remember those people in those hurricanes down there. They're going to get 15, 20, 30 inches of rain, so they need a plastic over their barrel so it'll run off and not go inside. Okay, we've got it rounded up now, and now we're going to put the plastic over it and tie it around the edge. We've cut a little X right there and put it down over that pipe. Now then, where are you going to put your plants? Well, you take a little knife and cut you a little X and mark out where you're going to put about 6 around the outside and 1 in the middle to make you 7. Or if you're going to put lettuce or spinach, you can go ahead and put about 7 around the outside and 3 in the middle, cut you a little X wherever you're going to put the plants. And then you just take that plant and stick it down in that little X, put your little soil back down around it, and you've got them growing above the plastic where there's no weeds going to grow, and they're going to sit there and just grow beautifully. You're going to put your fertilizer down this pipe all winter long. Every time you water, you're going to put a teaspoon of fertilizer per gallon of water that you put down that pipe. And if you like this video, punch the like button, subscribe, and ring that bell, and we'll make you another video.